Hello, welcome back. I'm Kiyan Badkoubeh.
I'm Soy Carlos.
And now we're about to go in depth on Cars 3.
We're gonna geek.
Take it away.
Much. Okay, first of all, why was this film made? I think it's pretty obvious that the only two reasons this film was made, because no one really asked for it. Everyone has been crazy. Give me Incredibles 2, give me Incredibles 2, but no one has been like, can I have Cars 3? No. I think this film was made was obviously one, merchandise. With Frozen and Cars, those are the two things that sell the most. So, you see kids everywhere with their little, it's just something for kids pretty much. And then the second reason is that in Disney California, they have Cars Land. So I feel like they have to keep it relevant at the same time. And that's why also that in the third film, they go back to Radiator Springs. That's because, to remind you, it's like, remember Flow Cafe? Remember?
I have a couple theories too. I think the most obvious answer, to the question is that obviously I think Pixar wanted a chance at redemption.
Oh, that's
They're
right.
in addition to they were like, we probably need more money, and we also want to make things relevant again, but we can also throw in that we'll try and redeem ourselves after Cars 2, because I'm sure that Pixar I'm sure anytime someone is like, Cars 2, huh? Pixar's just like, oh, I don't
especially it was John Lasseter's, baby. He was so proud of Cars.
I'm sure that they definitely were trying to redeem themselves from that. And so in that case, I think they did. I think they did what they needed to do. And then in that case, I'm glad the film was made. I think the only other reason I can see that the film possibly needed to have been made is, I didn't expect Cars to have this kind of feeling. So in a way, I found myself actually comparing Cars to Toy Story a lot, which I know is ironic because Toy Story everyone loves, it's amazing, it's great. Cars has its issues. But both have a trilogy, and the thing is that, so Toy Story, in the sense that Toy Story, the third one, had this sense of completing, and so something that maybe, and because when you finish Toy Story 2, in your head, you didn't think, oh, there's going to be a third one, and you weren't expecting a third one, but then they gave you a third one, and it ended up giving you closure in ways you didn't know you wanted to feel,
Good
and
point.
with Cars 3, I actually felt that in a way, in the sense where I didn't know I wanted any Cars sequels after I saw the first one. I didn't know how they, what there was to be wrapped up other than what they did in the first one. But then this movie actually ended up showing me that no, hey, there were elements from Cars 1 that I actually ended up feeling closure throughout the third movie, and it felt like a nice end to Cars. So hopefully, fingers crossed, Pixar, there won't ever be a Cars 4. But definitely, this, hopefully, if Pixar learned its lesson, take your win and just settle down. Cars 3 is
but
it, hopefully.
As sequels go, do you think this is better than, say, Monsters U, Finding Dory? Do you think that?
So the way I kind of compare sequels, because there's been Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3, there's been Finding Dory, Monsters University, and now Cars 2 and Cars 3. And so I guess my biggest thing is, a thing that I think a sequel should be held up to is that a lot of times sequels get a lot of praise just based on the fact that they're a sequel, so they bring a lot of nostalgia, and if they cash on that nostalgia very well, then they get praised as this amazing sequel.
That's right.
And so, case in point, for me, that's kind of what I feel about Toy Story, is yes, or Toy Story 3, sorry. It was a great movie, it had beautiful, amazing scenes, and yes, it was phenomenal. It was one of Pixar's good films. However, do you think Toy Story 3 would have been as emotionally triggering, as amazing, as loved if it was a standalone film? It could not have conveyed the same emotions if it had been a standalone film.
Yeah, I think so, but at the same time, not going to, I still think it's really relatable. Every kid, at least, most of us have played with toys, and I think, giving it away, even though, yeah, we saw Andy grew up, it's still more emotional for sure, but still feel like it's a relatable topic that everyone could, feel.
And I agree with that one.
With Cars 3.
Yeah, on the contrary though, Cars 3 can't say the same. Cars 3, the only reason this movie was not just a why, what is this going on, is because you had Cars 1. Cars 1 is the sole reason, in my opinion, that Cars 3 can be average.
yeah.
Is because
For sure.
what it works off, Cars 3, what it works off of completely, like the entire plot literally revolves around stuff that happened in the first movie. I mean, they do new things with it, but like the key focus inside the character is relating always to Cars 1.
Yeah.
And so in that sense, Cars 3 was not a good sequel because it would not have it could not at all survive on its own.
Yeah.
And Finding Dory, I think, is my favorite sequel and is the best just because it could stand off as its own. Like, it did not need Finding Nemo to make. I mean, if Finding Nemo brought it all the hype that it had going into it, but as a standalone movie, it could survive without Finding Nemo.
Okay, you want to go into characters now?
Yeah, sure. Let's go into
So
characters.
I want to talk about these characters. Okay, like I said, I like the film, but the one reason I did not fully enjoy it was because there's two protagonists in this film: Lightning McQueen, which I adored, and then Cruz Ramirez, which I did not like at all. And since she was in most of the scenes in this film, it was really hard for me to enjoy it. I was really excited to see Cruz Ramirez. You know, she was supposed to be Hispanic and a female lead. I was like, yes! But then she turned out to be the most annoying, rude character in the movie. Like, from the first scene, she shows up, she's just saying rude things to McQueen. She's being like, I feel like she's the biggest obstacle to him. And I feel it's just frustrating to see that character, because you know, when they go training, when she trains him at first and she treats him like he's 95 years old, I'm like, you're a trainer, what are you doing? And I was like, at first I thought she was a villain. That she was working for someone to make him lose. I was like, that's the only possible way I can like justify her actions. And then it doesn't turn out to be that way. And then it says, okay, we're gonna go outside and train in the landscape, stuff like that. And it turns out that Lightning McQueen babysits Cruz Ramirez. And I feel like at one point, Lightning McQueen starts like screaming at her. It's like, I spend the whole day like babysitting you pretty much, you know, and she's always like, you know, stopping him from growing as a racer. And I was like, yes, you go, McQueen, you tell her. Because I was like, it was so frustrating because I wanted him to win, but she was doing the opposite of training him. It was like, I don't know how to train outside, you know, even though I'm a trainer. I was like, how are you a trainer if you like, you know, I feel like she was just so, like the obstacle. It was really hard to like her because it was always about her. Oh, I always wanted to be a racer. Oh, this, you know, it's like McQueen is supposed to be like, you know, you should be the one helping him grow. And she's doing the opposite. She's just thinking about herself, and you know, that was something really disappointing to me. So what did you think of her?
I actually
I
disagree on a lot of those points. Because
Really?
for me, I agree that yes, she was the obstacle, but I think that was the point, was that because in regards to the comments on like when she first interacts with him and things, I think what Cruz Ramirez represents in the sense of a character in that world is she represented a up and coming like person, whether it was trainer or like wanting to be a racer person, that was coming from the new generation. So she like the thing I don't know if it was as well done as it could have been, but like a lot of times throughout the movie I had to keep asking myself, I was like, wait, is she like the same age as Lightning McQueen or is she younger? Like the design because they would show you these like new fast cars like Storm and everything.
Yeah.
And then, but she looked just like Sally, looked
Yeah,
just like Lightning McQueen,
that's
looked
right.
just like the others. So it was kind of confusing because I was like, wait, if she's supposed to be, like, I interpreted it as she's supposed to be from the new generation, right? Like, she is younger than Lightning McQueen. But, I mean, she
Doesn't
looked
look
the
like-
same. So I was like, I kept asking myself. So on that note, yes, that was kind of confusing and annoying. But yeah, so let's say she does represent the like young new generation.
Yeah.
Then in that sense, it does. I guess at the beginning when she was treating McQueen that way, it kind of highlighted how, you know, she wasn't meant to be a trainer, you know, and like we kind of realized. And so when she finally tells us like, hey, I was not wanting to be a trainer, you kind of get like, okay, I guess
But
that
I'm sorry,
explains
how does
it.
she become a trainer? She doesn't know how to race.
I do. Well, the thing is, though, I do think that it is confusing that supposedly they say that she knew how to race because she trained for it. Like, she says, I trained, I raced, like, I was on tracks and I practiced.
Yeah, she's like,
I just
I'm the
chickened
best
out
one
at
in
the
my
last.
town.
I just chickened out at the last minute. But then shouldn't
then
you
she goes
supposedly
outside.
know then when, like, you take Lightning McQueen, shouldn't you? I mean, you may not know how to train, but at least you know how to race.
Yeah,
I guess that part was a little bit
And at the end,
conflicting.
when they go on, train outside,
Uh-huh.
she doesn't know how to do anything. So, and she said that she used to practice outside. So I feel that was weird because then she said she used to train, but then once they were outside, she didn't know how to do a thing.
And like a lot of the stuff she did know how to do, or that she eventually ended up learning, were stuff that Lightning McQueen had learned from Doc, who we'll get to in a bit.
Oh,
But
yeah.
so like I guess in that respect it makes sense to where if she did grow up in the new generation of racing, she wouldn't have learned or observed all these tricks that were done in the past. And so I guess that kind of makes sense. But in the end, I ended up liking her because what she did, what her function that she served is she trained Lightning McQueen on to realize what his real purpose was. And I know, because what I can hear from you is that you love Lightning McQueen as the racer, so you wanted to see him win that race.
Can we talk about the ending now?
We can go to the ending.
Okay, I'm all about girl power. I'm all about, finally for a girl to, have the, the lead. And it's, of course, wonderful for this character to win because, it's something she's been dreaming. And, it seems like she's the only one, like, maybe female, I don't know, or ethnic-wise, that she's the first one winning. So I'm all about that. But I thought it was really sad to see, McQueen is so passionate about racing. He's so passionate about, he worked so hard to win this. Like, he was so desperate to win, and then he just gives up. I thought, when I was watching the film, I was like, what? I was so invested on him, on winning. I wanted him so bad because it felt like the first movie when he, I get it. Because McQueen is like such a nice character. Of course, he would let in the first movie that old guy win, and he did the same thing in the first film. So it's like, okay, last film, let him win, and then he can retire and do his own thing, but let him have this last moment. I thought that was, at least for me, the frustrating part, because he's like so sad to see this hero being like, I give up. You could see in his eyes like, I'm not gonna win. And it's kind of sad message because kids to be like, I want to get ready for this race, and if you don't feel 100% ready, does that mean you can win? I just feel like as a last film, as his closure, at least to have maybe both of them win. I mean, I know technically they do, but he doesn't even race the end, I just would have liked that for him. As much as I like this other character to win and everything, I just kind of feel better for McQueen, this main protagonist that you've known from the first film, and he didn't win in the first one. Did he win in the second one?
I don't remember this.
So I wanted this one to be his chance. And I know they technically win because he sort of raced, but he was kind of like, yeah, you won.
I get that it wasn't as satisfying. I do think, though, that for that kind of ending, they build up to it correctly. Because here's the thing, if you notice, or at least from the moment when, because they did one final, practice race before he had to go to Florida. And in that race, they don't show him passing her up. They show that he, still cannot beat her.
Yeah.
And you see the look of defeat in his eyes. And right there, at least for me, I kind of knew, I was like, okay, there are two ways this is either going to go. They're either going to have him show up at the race and have him win some miraculously way, which is stupid, because then there would be no explanation to, he, suddenly at the race was like, let me win, Or option two was going to be what actually happened there were three options. Option two was that he won't win the race, that something is going to happen that he can't win the race. And what I didn't know I was guessing at how they were going to work that in, and as it was racing, I kind of figured what was going to happen. But I feel like they build it up to that properly. If they had on that last practice race shown that he beat her and he reached his goal, and then they pulled that ending, I would have been like, okay, that's not believable. You showed that he was capable, you showed all the training, and you showed that at the end of the training he reached his goal, and then you're gonna make him throw it away like that. That's kind of maybe what they did in the first movie, but in this movie they really show you hey, he didn't throw it away. I mean, he was being nice, but I mean, at the end of the day, even if he had stayed in the race, he would not have won. And you can tell that by the way they showed that last race. He put in his all and he fought. And the other thing to remember, though, is that technically she trained with him. So in a way, you can see that the training did help the other character also train for the race.
Yeah,
In a
also,
way, I get it, but it's not.
Yeah, I can totally see your point. But what also bothered me was, you know, when they were in the mud kind of stuff, and then she won the thing because he saved her. I was like, and she thought she was like the champion. I'm like, no. And then she beats the second race because he helped her. I was like, I don't know. I didn't like her character
I think, and
much.
so this can tie into another point that I think we'll talk about now is I think the biggest reason why I was okay with that ending is because the whole point of the movie was that we're supposed to see Lightning McQueen become, spoiler alert, he becomes Doc Hudson. He basically follows the path, and literally, like, this is the reason I was able to predict the rest of the movie was because they literally, if you're paying attention, they show you what is about to happen. When he goes to Smokey, and Smokey literally, Lightning's like, oh, you know, like, I'm just like Doc now, like, I have no purpose in life, and like, I'm about to lose everything that I love, and he goes, no, Lightning McQueen, look, and he shows him, and he's like, look, Doc's, like, his life didn't end when he stopped racing. In fact, like, his best part of his life was when he took on the job of coaching you. And, like, the moment they showed that, I was like, okay, this is where Lightning McQueen is gonna go. He's gonna discover, and especially because the side character had been there the entire time, and, like, he said, I was babysitting you, etc., then, like, that's the moment I knew, okay, he's gonna end up realizing that he also likes... It worked for me. I was satisfied with it, and I was like, I liked it.
So different opinions on this
film.
film.
But go for it. I want to hear this.
Okay, so I was so disappointed with the whole Doc. I get it. They wanted to do the whole like circle going back, but this is the thing. Doc and McQueen, from the moment you met them in Cars 1, they were different. They both have a passion for racing, but they were different. You know, McQueen was more like ka-chow. You know, I'm all about like. But my thing was, okay, it's wonderful to keep someone's legacy, someone's history, someone, you know, and I think that's wonderful. But to become that person, it's not that great for me. You know, if McQueen retired, I wanted McQueen to retire, not a Doc version of him. You know, I wanted a full McQueen retire, you know, to him be his own person. But then when I saw that last scene with him covered in blue paint, fabulous Lightning McQueen, I just felt that was too much. Okay, I get it, he's your idol. You know, want to remember him and keep his legacy, but no, don't become him. You know, that's just a bit too much for me. Like, it's kind of like sad, you know? It's like, be yourself, you know? He would have wanted you to be yourself, not a copy of him. That's a big issue I had with him. It's like wonderful if you want to become a trainer because, you know, you whatever, but to become
a trainer for the sake of like following Doc's footsteps.
I mean, if you like training, whatever, you do you, but become a trainer that is Lightning McQueen. Don't go and, you know, it's just a bit
I get that.
Sad and awkward. And then there were too many flashbacks for me. Too many. I was like, to a point, it's like, even like flashbacks from the first movie, like, so this is a sad thing. Paul Newman, who voiced Doc, passed away. So all the lines were taken from, you know, recordings from the first film and some extra stuff. But I don't know, it's just kind of sad to go all the time back to that character, you know? And it's kind of like, I get it, it's like to remember him, and it explains why McQueen is going to the end of the film. Why does he make that decision? I get it. But at the same time, it's like, too much, I guess. It just kind of slowed down the film.
So we just want to dedicate a brief section of the in-depth discussion to the short, which came before the Pixar film, as all Pixar always are short. So go ahead.
Yeah, I think there's not much I want to say about it. I really like the story. I thought it was so creative, the way they handled the Lost and Found, the animation of the actual like monster.
The animation of the way they like put it together, like that was creative. That was hands down creative.
And that was really creative. And the message was nice, you know, it was like don't bully kind of stuff. But I wasn't impressed with the overall design or animation, like the character design of the kid, and you know, I was kind of like. It wasn't. You know, after like, Piper, that was impressive, like the animation. In this, it was kind of lacking. I mean, it's a style for sure, but I'm not.
I think it did a good job of fitting the movie in the sense where it was an average short. It wasn't anything that blew us away like Piper, and it wasn't anything that was terrible to where we're like, oh, why did Pixar put that there? You know, it was an average, heartwarming short that was really nice.
The ending. I didn't see it coming. I was like, but No.
He realized that he I guess spoiler, he gave away all the toys, and so the thing wasn't there anymore.
Yeah.
But all that was left was his toy. But it was definitely
Yeah, it's
very
really
nice short.
Super Pixar, you know,
yeah.
right in the feels.
Go
I
for
really
it.
liked in the beginning the music choice of it.
Yes,
It was like
yes.
I was feeling it. I was like,
And
yes.
it was a nice homage again back to the first movie, to where they also
Yeah, the
had the
first
song
scene
play at the
when he's
first
like-
when he's racing.
Everything starts like black and then he's
I
talking.
liked that at the
I
beginning.
really liked that.
I thought, because I was like, because I recognized it. I was like, this is exactly. And I literally, I was
Yeah.
watching it with my brother, and I turned to him and I said, this is exactly how the first movie started. And so that was like exciting,
nice, 'cause-
nostalgic. It was
yeah.
unexpected. I liked
I really
it.
liked that. It was like started with a lot of energy, and then the rest of the film happened.
So yeah,
That's all.
is that everything? All right, so that kind of sums up our in-depth discussion. Please, if you agree or disagree or have thoughts on anything that we talked about in the discussion, be sure to leave a comment down below in the comment section. And of course, follow us at Coog TV on Facebook and YouTube for more Coog Cinema reviews.
Also, if you haven't seen the first part, go
Definitely
check it out.
go check out the first part if you didn't. It should be on our Facebook page for a general summary discussion about our thoughts with no spoilers. And yeah, I'm your host, Kiyan Badkoubeh,
I'm so Carlos.
and we'll see you next time.